Good morning, everyone, and thank you. My name is Lorain Kruger, and I am the founder and owner of Distinct Clee. Danielle Gura over here is my co-owner and partner. If I didn't have her, this business wouldn't be possible. But the reason we wanted to talk to you today about the value of local is because that is the passion that has driven our company into stardom. We are a 100% local company, and that's something we like to brag and boast about. So to get started, I always like to talk about Cleveland first. Cleveland is amazing. 10 years ago, if people asked about Cleveland, they were like, ew, like mistake on the lake, yuck, yuck, yuck. But look at us now. Forbes magazine is writing about us. You know, now we're one of the 10 top best cities for food, for entertainment. We have the second largest theater district in the country, next to New York. We've got 4 James Beard Chef award-winning restaurants and owner chefs. And you know, we've got new things popping up all the time. We have the Ingenuity Fest. We have the Cleveland Flea. We have, you know, staples in our town like the West Side Market. What other city can you go to that has something like this? It's amazing. So that's what branched out and made me think of local. About 10 years ago, I did pop-up shops in Cleveland for local artists, and everything that was in our store had to be made from upcycled or recycled material and had to be, of course, locally handmade. And so that, to me, 10 years ago, was going right along with the birth of what Cleveland is doing. So the value of local is basically a little speech or a little slideshow about how it trickles down and how it can make our community great. I like to use Ohio City as an example all the time. Look at Ohio City. 10 years ago, you could buy a house for $45,000. Now you go to Ohio City, they're like, that's $250,000. So it's changed drastically, and it's an amazing area, and it has its charm and its personality. So thank you for letting me do this today, and I'll be asking questions and maybe pointing people out along the way. So, all right. So, top 10 reasons why you, or not top 10, top reasons why you should support and shop local. These are the key points that I'm going to be going over. How it does build community, how it shapes the character of a community. Like if I said, Derek, Chagrin Falls, what kind of character does it have? What is it known for? Yeah, popcorn shop, community. You know, if somebody said Tremont, you know, what's the first thing that pops to into somebody's head when you hear the word Tremont?
Old battlefield.
Yeah, and art. You know, it's supposed to be, you know, a newer art community, restaurant community. And then it leads into, you know, once you're building community and you're shaping the character of your community, it also creates a healthier environment. So we'll talk a little bit about how and why. And then, of course, once all those things are on the uprise, your local economy is going to strengthen. You're going to create jobs and have much more opportunity in your community. And believe it or not, it's going to lower your taxes. And then there's a greater give back initiative. It's amazing how much money small businesses contribute every year to nonprofits, events. So the first one, building community. I mean, how many of you go to a local coffee shop in the morning? 1, 2. What? Okay. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I know when I make a networking, when somebody's like, hey, Lauren, let's sit down and have coffee. And the first thing they're like, Starbucks, Panera. I'm like, no. Like, there's an amazing shop right down the street. Why not go there? You know, meet the owner. He needs to network too. She needs to network too. Introduce yourself. Make sure you stop back in. And build community. And then when you're in that coffee shop, you might run into another person. I was at Erie Island Coffee Company in Rocky River the other morning to meet with a realtor, and I ran into like 10 people. I'm like, hey, hi, and it just builds a sense of, you know, you like going there, you like seeing the same people. It also, you know, builds relationships that you might have never, you know, you meet new people when you go into these places. And you also know when you are purchasing that coffee that morning or your muffin or whatever, you know you're helping. you know you are helping to create that community of loyalty and local. And it also enhances your local democracy. The people that own these small businesses have a stake in their community. So they're usually involved in some of the key decisions to make improvements in your community. So it's an amazing networking thing that you'd never know is a networking thing. And it's just phenomenal, and you'll create relationships you never knew about. So, shaping your community or the character. Again, towns end up getting known to be, an art town, a food town, a entertainment town, just a place to go hang out and have fun. So it's really neat how these things can shape the character of a new area, an old area, or reshape the character once it's, come from down here and moved to somewhere better. So it also can create a destination. How many of you are familiar with Vermilion, Ohio? I would definitely call Vermilion a destination. I mean, you don't want to go there in January or December, but in the summer, it's phenomenal. I mean, you've got a 5-star French restaurant, you've got cute little stores, you can walk along the lake, you can go to the beach, and it's just a cute, crazy destination. It also gives a community a distinct personality, like we've been talking about, an art community, a food community. Some communities are specific, not even communities is saying in Cleveland, but when you go down to Asheville, North Carolina, you instantly drive into that town and it's art. There are like 200 art galleries. It's gorgeous. That's what it's known for. It's a destination. It's beautiful. And then also, while you're thinking of your community and where you live, it's charming. It's home. Vermilion is charming. Rocky River, little downtown Rocky River is charming. It's home. So that also, having local small businesses in these communities makes it this way. And therefore, it creates a healthier environment. So independent and small businesses are people-sized. And what I mean by that is they're small. They don't have a ton of overhead. They don't have, 5,000 employees. They don't have their lawyers in Chicago and their accountants in Florida. They're local. So they actually leave a smaller footprint in your area. And it shows that there's definitely correlation. There's been tons of studies that show the correlation between percentage of locally owned businesses and the health and vitality of a community being stronger. If you go to a big town where it's big business and there's not a lot of that charm and that good feeling and it's just work, work, work and it's large companies, it sounds morbid, but the mortality rate is higher. It's lower in communities that have a stronger base and stick together. There's a greater sense of satisfaction when you're purchasing things from small businesses. Again, it's like going into that local coffee shop. You know you're helping. Then, when you start these small businesses and you're growing the community and you're getting a sense of character and everybody's feeling healthier, jobs. More jobs become available. Small jobs, or small businesses and independent business owners employ more people directly per dollar of sale. So sure, Walmart's huge and inexpensive and great and you can shop there and they can employ so many people. However, if you go to your local convenience store and grab the same thing you would have grabbed at Walmart, that employee is actually a greater value for that small business owner. It just makes sense. Plus, because you're starting a small business in these great towns, you're creating more business, which you'll show on our next slide. It actually is a recycling flow of money that stays local. Local businesses are going to hire local accountants, local lawyers. They're going to shop locally. They're going to shop at the farms. They're going to seek out small batch producers. So again, your money is going to stay in the community and make the community even stronger. So it does. So here is the chart I put together for strengthening your local economy. So local businesses have a direct impact and an indirect impact on their spending. The direct impact, of course, is a business has to use other local utilities or employees or local small things to make their business run directly. But indirectly, those employees that come into your store are going to want lunch. They're going to leave for a lunch break. Sorry, guys, but they're leaving. Anyway, they're going to go next door, and they're going to shop locally. Somebody needs to, buy a birthday gift for somebody. They're leaving work. Somebody's probably going to go conveniently on their way home or on their way to the party and buy something locally. Again, you're probably going to use a local accountant, a local lawyer, and so the money kind of sticks around. It recirculates back into the economy. So the charts up there, the local economy of indies versus chains, it just shows that chain retailers, like where the pie is where the money is, and then the purple part over there is the recirculation of money locally and where it's staying. So only 13% of the money, if you want to shop at a big box store, is going to stay in the community. But if you have a local store and you go in there, the recirculation of revenue is 48%. It's huge. And that's why local businesses can strengthen your community. And it does lower taxes. Believe it or not, when I was doing some research and looking at this, I didn't believe it. I was like, no, it doesn't. Because I thought big box brought in more money for the community. I live in Bay Village, and we don't have tax dollars coming in from businesses. So our taxes are extremely high. But then when you do look at other areas that do have big box and some areas that have just smaller local stores, it does make a huge difference. The smaller businesses generate more tax revenue per dollar because they have more efficient land use. They don't have such a big footprint. So they don't have the upkeep cost of what a large big box store would have. And so when I was looking at the studies about this, there's less demand, of course, on sewers and roads, but the small business generates $326 annual per 1,000 square foot of store space. They actually give that money back to the community. The big box retailers, it actually costs us money as taxpayers to have them in our community. Yes, we get money from them tax-wise, but the local services we use to keep them around and keep them working actually costs us more. It's $468 per square feet because of the maintenance on the sewers and the utilities and just all the expenses it costs for us to keep them in our towns. And therefore, all these small businesses, after you go through all of these things, they also give back more. And I find this to be true across the board. Anytime you go to a small business, I know Danielle and I have had people come to us and they're like, hey, this is a great cause, can we get a crate? Or can you help sponsor a team? Small businesses, because there's a sense of community and because we feel ingrained in the people, we give more. The ask isn't as hard. And on percentage, we end up, small businesses all around Cleveland end up, you see tons of events and the different sponsorships there. There's a lot of times you'll see a small business name next to a large business name. And it's so great. And it's just, I think that even creates a bigger sense of community. So that's another reason that we want you to shop local as well. So these are all the reasons I went over, and there are tons more. I guess, I didn't even go over this in the beginning. Is there anyone in the room that doesn't know what we do? Okay. So we actually are a huge advocate to the small entrepreneur. We hand build crates, and then we go around and seek small batch vendors from in and around Cleveland and Ohio that have an amazing product that they're crazy passionate about, and then we curate it into our crates, and we call that feel-good gifting. Feel-good gifting to me is a trifecta. You are supporting the local economy when you purchase these because you're not only supporting Distinct Clee, you're also supporting other small batch business entrepreneurs from our area. The crate itself is reusable, recyclable, and also 100% Ohio because it comes from the Ohio River Valley. And it's a local, wonderful local introduction to products you have maybe never known that existed. Last week, you guys got to try Oven 51. I don't think anybody in the room maybe even knew they were around, and we were able to discover them, and we're trying to help them get discovered in those ways as well by putting their dough in their crate, in our crate. So thank you for the pizza last week. So that's what we do. And so we're huge local advocates. And so when they asked me to speak today, I figured, we really market ourselves as trying to help other small batch entrepreneurs and just be a great local introduction. So that's what we do. Any questions?
But could you tell us a little bit about how your business model works? In other words, do most of the people who offer product to fill your crates with pay you for the privilege of having you distribute them?
They do not, no. No.
So tell us where your revenue comes from.
Sure. So as far as Distinct CLE, our revenue comes from business. We're very much so B2B, or we do a lot of client gifting. Real estate agents is our number one market. Other small businesses that supply other companies with product is a great target for us. So what we do as far as revenue is we actually hand make each of these crates. So that generates revenue for us. And then we purchase small batch products wholesale from, so like Tyler, we call him and we're like, hey, we need some dough. We purchase it wholesale, we turn it around and charge retail, and then we curate it into a crate. So if a realtor calls us and says, I just sold a house, I need a crate delivered for their housewarming, anywhere from $50 to $300 depending on the sale of the home. We then curate the crate we can personalize it because we can find out from the real estate agent, okay, you had all this interaction with your customer, you know your customer best, what can we customize that fits what they think would be amazing? So then we can either put together a cheese and charcuterie crate, a make your own pizza crate, we can put a bottle of champagne or wine in here, and it can really fit their personality. So, and then the real estate agent buys it from us. So that's where our revenue stream is. Our revenue stream is buying things wholesale, marking the product up to retail, and then making money on the crate itself and the service. So to have a vendor pay to put their stuff in our crate would basically be against our mission, because when we started the company, we really wanted to help small batch producers coming out of the Culinary Launch Kitchen, Countryside Conservancy, North Union Farmers Market. We really wanted to help these people get recognition in the marketplace, because how many times do a lot of people don't have a chance to go to the farmer's market every Saturday, so when you get this gift, you're like, I never heard of them. And if you open it and you love it and you like it, you're going to seek that small vendor out and want to purchase more and help them grow in the marketplace as well as us.
Is it all culinary products? Or products?
Right now it is. We started out as a culinary style business.
There's just so many products.
Yeah, I guess.
How do you pick a field to focus on?
When I ran the pop-up store, the artists would come in with their products, and then a few of them started bringing in like homemade jams and different things, and I'm like, oh, I can't carry that in the store because it's not recycled. Whew. So I figured, then I was like, there's such a need. Nobody at that time in Cleveland was doing this. Nobody was featuring small batch products, and most of the small batch products were culinary that first came onto the market. And we have such a great foodie scene in Cleveland, it just seemed like the right fit. So most of the stuff in here is food, but we do culinary products as well. Cutting boards that are made locally, ceramic garlic dishes that are made locally, mugs, anything to enhance the products that are in there.
What local resources do you use, like networking and different things that you use to build your business?
Good question. You know, it was funny. When we first started out, it was horrible and wonderful all at the same time because we made a lot of mistakes. We put our first product out and we were so excited. We're like, we're going to sell 1 million of these. They're so great. And we didn't. Because we put it on Facebook and we put it on Instagram. We're like, people are going to see it and it's so cool because of course we thought it was amazing. It worked a little bit. We sold like 50, but we were prepared to sell a lot more. We were like, yay. And so failure is awesome because we learned that you do have to spend money to make money marketing, but there's so many ways to do it cost effectively and I don't want to say on the cheap, but it is basically on the cheap. Networking. Networking is key. That's why everybody's here this morning. I made a pact after New Year's to network at least 5 to 8 times a week. I try to be as many places as I can all the time, and it's not necessarily just being out there talking about my product and what I do. It's just being out there and meeting people, asking them how I can help them, asking them, you know, who's your ideal client, and seeing if I have anybody in common that I can share with them. And that has been overwhelmingly 100% successful. We've also educated ourselves. Education to learn how to market ourselves is huge, and there's so many free resources. I mean, you've got right here, right now, you've got Neo LaunchNet, you've got the SBDC, you know, you've got Small Business Advisory Council. There's so many places to get help. And while you're getting that help, you're also networking. So we did learn that Facebook is great, Instagram is phenomenal, but what about YouTube? What about doing video? That's on the, you know, you just got to stay current with what is being watched and who's watching it, know your target market, and reach them on that particular plane. We tried magazine advertising, and that is wonderful, and I wouldn't knock it, but don't do it till you have the budget for it. Don't do it until your business is growing and you can afford that frequency, because frequency is what matters. How many times are people seeing you? How many times are you talking to somebody? You know, and when you're doing an ad in a magazine or an ad on the radio or an ad on TV, frequency is key. And if you don't hit that frequency, you're wasting your money. So, so far, networking has been phenomenal.
You know, those types of products as well?
We do. I mean, we haven't, I don't know if anybody knows Destiny Burns. She's amazing. She owns the Cleveland Urban Winery. We're starting to, you know, do some stuff with her and put her glassware into the crates, her wine. We have about 1 more month till we get our state permit for wine. So, and yeah, we are looking, you know, we are always, people contact us all the time and show us stuff, so it's always an option, because anything that enhances the product that goes in there is perfect. I mean, we even, if anybody ever hears of anybody doing baby food locally, it's a hard one. It's refrigerated, and right now a lot of the stuff needs to be shelf stable, but we're looking to branch out and do other things, other gift type ideas.
I've lived a lot of different cities, and most great cities have a Ohio City, Tremont, something cool.
Oh yeah.
Where you get those young people. I lived in Minneapolis. They have Uptown. You know, that's where the people your age, you know, hang out. It's cool. You get those young people that are working and doing local. I grew up in a small town, live in a small town, Vermillion. I've lived in a lot of cities. It's really tough. My small town I grew up in, it's like a bomb went off. Used to be storefronts, community, everything was community driven. A lot of empty storefronts. It's very hard for a blue collar town like that to support something local. Same for Vermillion, we have tourism. So they kick butt for 4 months. The rest of the time, our roads suck. We lost Ford, so all that tax money that came in. The locals have a very hard time. There's some really awesome shops there, a lot of nautical things, some art things, great restaurants. It's very tough because they're taxed heavy. They're the water bills. There's a lot of obstacles unless you're in the right area, and I've just seen it. So you guys are, I think, in a great location. It's tough for people that aren't in those. A lot of small towns are hurting.
yeah.
And I just didn't know if you probably don't have to deal with that, but I think marketing to the young people, like I said, when we were young, you did everything. I went and got my shoes fixed at Capriani's downtown. I bought my clothes downtown. I went to the drugstore to get a pop, whatever, you know? And it's just, that's gone. Kids don't do that now in these small towns. So, and the kids, young kids, they'll go to a big box store because it's cheaper because they can't afford the local stuff. So you got to find the artsy, cool, hip people to support that kind of thing. And I'm just bringing that up because I've seen it in so many cities. I've seen it in so many walks. I've been a musician all my life. Even with music, I've had to change my game. You know, I do a lot of private shows. I make more money doing that. I'm in a, you know, it's more fun. It's more intimate. Same kind of thing.
Right.
More communication. Just observations, that's all,
Yeah.
no questions.
I mean, it just, so I have done a lot of grant work over in the Superior St. Clair district. And if anybody remembers that area, it's still not great. What it takes, the locals there are extremely resistant to change. When I first started doing pop-up shops, that is, we started in Gordon Square. Gordon Square, part of our mission was to go into empty retail space that needed a little loving care. We wanted people to start coming to these areas and seeing, oh my gosh, this could be really cool. So then we moved over to the Superior St. Clair district, and those residents are very ethnic, they are older, and they resist change. So when you do get areas like that, it takes maybe someone from the younger generation or just a leader to work in the CDC and make changes, apply for grant money, you know, show people. A lot of people don't want to hear about it, they want to see it. And that's the one thing that Cleveland does best. I mean, so if you go into an area like Superior St. Clair District, they hire Michael Fleming to come on board, and he starts kicking butt. He starts applying for grants. He starts going to local businesses, and he starts talking to them about how can we get people into our community. And they're working on that now, and I guarantee you in 5 years that place is going to be amazing. They've already made great strides. They host the Cleveland Flea. Stephanie Sheldon has the Cleveland Flea once a month in the summer, and if nobody's ever been there, go. It's phenomenal. Local food trucks, local musicians, stuff you've never even knew that was being done in Cleveland is being done there, and it is phenomenal. And who would have known? Who goes over to the Superior St. Clair area? You know, does anybody know that they actually have goats that cut their lawn? They do. They have, and they are. And I'm like, you need to make stuffed animals and name them all and do a whole marketing campaign with it. But they got grant money to get goats, and they're over in the park area off of Lakeside, and they cut the grass. They don't have to hire anybody to come in and mow the lawn. They have goats that do it. And so they've started using those goats as a marketing campaign. They'll take them to, like, you know, races or the Cleveland Flea, and you can pet them and touch them. But that's what those small towns need, is they need good leadership. I don't know if, to me, youth helps. Leadership is key to drive those people into those neighborhoods. Sandusky is the next big one. I don't know if any, you know, Eric Webster left Ohio City. He went back home to Sandusky. Downtown Sandusky has already, in the past year and a half, made huge strides. They've opened up a boutique hotel in the historic downtown. They have a really cool speakeasy bar that is the talk of Northeast Ohio. It's just amazing, and I think it just takes that initiative of somebody to go back to that community they grew up in and be like, we're gonna make this happen. So, yeah.
Can people go online and see what you have to offer and kind of build their own box, or do they have to call you, or how's that process?
So that, eventually, well, right now, we are 100% online, except for custom. Right now, you can go online, and we have about 23 crates that are curated and ready to buy and ship anywhere UPS goes, so basically anywhere in the world. The create your own crate thing is basically right now a phone call to me, and I sit down with you and we go over what we can and can't put in there. The hard part about the build your own crate and we love it and we want to do it, is the rotation of our vendors and our product. What we like to do is find really small batch amazing vendors that are hard to find. So once somebody makes it big, we kind of rotate them out and try to find somebody smaller that actually needs a little bit of help finding placement in the marketplace. But I think eventually we'll grow enough to where we will have some staple products and you can go online. You know, it'll be a drop down where you can pick your crate first and then it'll take you over to the next page where you can fill it. We're working on that. We're just not web designers either, so we'll find somebody locally to help us with that.
Can I ask you to help me with a definition deficiency? You use the word curate and curated a lot. I know you come out of an art world. I'm having a hard time transferring what little I know about the word curate to the food business.
Okay.
Or even the crate business, or even the combination of both.
I guess it's hard to find a word, and maybe we're overcomplicating it. Curate is basically the art of picking the items that go well together and putting them in the crate. So if you were going to order a cheese and charcuterie crate, you know, we'd curate it, or we'd figure out what meshes together well, like a handmade cutting board. You know, of course, a couple local cheeses from either Coco Borrego or Yellow House or Lake Erie Creamery. And then we have our local charcuterie, which we'd have to find somebody who's doing the sausage. Well, we have Dan from Europa, but you'd have to find the salamis and the cured meats you want to put in there, and then your jams, you know, your chutneys, your honey, your combination of things that all blend well, your local nuts. So I guess when I say curate, we basically mean artfully put together small batch products that enhance each other in the crate.